This is Dan Vagabond Buddha. I'm in Merida, Mexico, in the Yucatan Peninsula. This is Principal Plaza. It's the main park of the city, as all Spanish formed colonial era cities have a Principal Plaza, often called Zocalo. This is the Zocalo for Merida, and it's a beautiful place. It's on we're at sea level now, so it's warm, no doubt about that, but we're not far from the ocean. It's a gorgeous city. It has both an old town and a newer section, and it has some amazing, beautiful architecture, and I'm going to show you. Hey, this is Dan the Vagabond Buddha. This is the video of my Merida, Mexico Old Town walking tour. There's an interactive Google map for this walking tour. Just click the link in the notes below this YouTube video on your smartphone in order to take this walking tour. You'll also find day tours, restaurants, accommodations, transportation, along with a link to the best travel or retire cheap in paradise locations in the world. Okay, here's the video. So I'm at the museum at the city of Merida. The museum is in the former post office building next door to the downtown market. It houses important artifacts from the city's history, as well as an art gallery with mostly modern pieces. And it's a beautiful old building, in addition to being next to the market and having some interesting stuff inside. So this is the City Museum, and it's in an old colonial This is what historians think that the city of Tho, the city hall looked like. The one in the center there, or a little to the right actually. This is what the Spanish came and destroyed when they built Merida. Later I'll take you down a street where there's a bunch of mansions, and I read online that this town had some of the most millionaires in Mexico at one point, like the 1850s through 1920, something like that. And it's from this fiber that they make a rope out of. Apparently it's a really strong fiber that comes from cactus, and they were almost had free labor because of what they were doing with indigenous people, and they were exporting this stuff all over the world and made a bunch of millionaires. And this is from that period. This room these are some of the families that grew and exported this material. So this is the temple of Nuestra Senora de la Consolacion. It was built in 1596. The construction after the temple was constructed, the convent, the first nuns came from Mexico City. There were actually 2 novels written about this place. Just click the link in the notes below this video, and I put a link to the information about the novels. Let's check this out. It's definitely worth a visit, but no pictures allowed inside. So this is the Limpio Cultural Center. It's right on the Principal Plaza, and it displays the work of local artists. There's 3 showrooms here, or exhibitions, and it takes about an hour to see all 3. And it's free. You can use your camera, just no flash allowed. I left the United States in 2000. I visited 65 countries so far. If you'd like to learn how to make money online while you live wherever you like in the world, please visit Vagabond Buddha and get a free copy of my ebook. All right, back to our video. They had the nerve to make it a movie in Spanish. If you're enjoying this video, could you please like it, comment, subscribe, or share it on social media? If you do any of those things, you'll help our business and we'd really appreciate it. Thanks. So one of my sister's sons, when he was young, he couldn't pronounce the consonant before the first vowel in any word. So when he wanted to say "I farted," he would say "I arted." And so in my family, the saying "I arted," whenever you're walking down the street and you see street art or something you wanted to point out to someone, you would say, "Someone arted." So that's my thoughts. Do you like the art?
I like the AC.
You like the AC? Yes, the art is art. Someone arted, but I like the AC. I think aliens landed by the behind the Olympio Cultural Center, and they planted this big snowball. Do you remember Hostess snowballs? This is where they're hiding them. So there's 3 Francisco de Montanejo, I think is how you pronounce it. And they were the conquistadors for this area, sponsored by Spain. Oh. So this is Conquistador Montejo, Francisco de Montejo. And this was the family home up until the independence. This is the guy who tried to tame the Mayan people that didn't have much luck. They had maintained a lot of their culture, unlike other parts of Mexico, where they were able to assassinate anyone who wanted to maintain culture or language or whatever. And his son had the same name as him, as did the nephew. And as you can see, they've had a lot of money. Wow. And then there's also an art gallery here. These are all done by the same artist. And this building now is owned by the bank, one of the banks here in Mexico. So both the furnishings and the upkeep of this mansion, one of the wealthiest in Mexico, no doubt, is now handled by the bank. And this museum is free. And it's kind of nice to be here at dusk. This is actually the 2 days before I'm going to do my Old Town walking tour, and we just happened to be walking by, and they asked us to come in, and we came in, and we got this tour. There's no one here. The lights are on, so it's just an amazing place. Merida was home of one of the highest per capita millionaires around the end of the I guess it would be the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th, because of a fiber that they were able to make out of cactus that was useful in many things like making ropes. So there were a lot of wealthy people created from growing that crop and making the rope and other products. On the top floor, while we were here at least, there was an exhibit showing photos, black and whites, of Merida over the years. And it's really excellent photography. 1946, so relatively early pieces. Hola. No, hola. ¿Cómo está? They're all 1946. So all of these black and whites we've been looking at were done by Armando Salas, Portugal. He was here in 1946. So this is the front of Francisco's mansion. We were just inside. And on every Thursday at 8 o'clock they have a light show they project on the front of the building and tell us all about the indigenous the experience of the indigenous people through all of this. So this is the Mccabe Museum here in Merida, and it's supposed to have some great pieces in here. I don't know much about it. I just told it's a great spot. Definitely check it out. So we're here to do just that. The first thing you see in the Mccabe on the second floor is another Pacheco. The lighting's better here. You can see here there's a representation of how the indigenous people are treated. Still enjoy the AC. The AC was better in the other place. I like the big open spaces and all the colors and the squares and I don't know, maybe the attempt to use, if you look, it's the attempt to use just modern day stuff to make some reason out of it, but no reason involved, so it's kind of a, I don't know, there's an emptiness to it about the meaning of society and life, or, alright, how's that? Am I an art fag? Can I get away with that? I don't know, I don't know if it's just the space I like. The color's nice too, I mean, I don't get the negative connotations of my interpretation. It doesn't, it's just kind of the empty part of it more. Oh, there's my chair. All right, I'll have a seat and get to work. Mccabe is interesting because it's got old and new, and you're likely to be entertained. So do it. We are in this huge corridor. Can you see it? And it's next to the church, and it's near the Mccabe Museum. Is it here?
The church is over there.
Yeah, the church is. So this is the Cathedral of Merida. Yeah, this is the first cathedral built in the continental Americas. However, the cathedral was sacked by revolutionary forces during the War of Independence, and its invaluable art collection was destroyed. Shouldn't the first thing they teach you in military school is to not destroy world heritage? If you're being oppressed, evict the oppressor, but don't destroy world heritage and architecture. Let's go inside and check it out. This is the Governor's Palace. It was completed in 1892. Although this building is only 130 years old, it's on the walking tour because of the 27 murals painted on the inside by Fernando Pacheco, depicting the history of the Yucatan state. It's a gorgeous setting here. They have all the founding fathers and subsequent important Mexican patriots that are honored along the wall inside there, and posters. When the Spanish learned about henequen, it's a fiber that's used to make really strong ropes. They put the locals to work through a form of slavery that has some local control, but still slavery. And that's what that picture is back there. It's a native Mayan being treated poorly by the rulers. And that, my friends, in the center of that photo is Benito Juarez. He was the indigenous president of Mexico and helped bring about the reform. Benito was, being an indigenous citizen and president, was worried about the common man. He was a liberal. And he and his contemporaries noted the way that the Roman Catholic Church had been mistreating, in their view, the locals by charging huge fees for everything, more than they could afford. Often more than their salaries and ability to pay. There's one example where a poor man who couldn't afford to feed his family, his son died, and he went to a local priest. And not all priests are this way, certainly, but this priest, he said, "What do I do with my dead son?" He had it in his hands. And the priest said, "Salt your son and eat him." And so, in other words, give me the money you were going to use to feed your family and eat your son in order to pay me for my burial fees that I need. And the sad thing is the government was enforcing this stuff. And so what Benito Juarez did is he created a separation of church and state. It resulted eventually, the conservatives tried to get the French to come over here, and they were able to take over for a while. So there was some brutal fighting that went on over it, but eventually they got the Roman Catholic Church out of daily life and government. And so he's an honored Mexican citizen and former president. This is beautiful work. Again, this is the government palace right on the Zocalo. It's one of the nicer displays I've seen in Mexico in terms of just a gorgeous room with walls, nice work on the walls, and the murals themselves are interesting. It's a beautiful government palace. So in a minute I'm going to show you a church across the street. It's the oldest church in Merida, Mexico. It was reserved for blacks and mulattoes. The Spanish believed that indigenous people had no souls, and so they built them separate churches. We'll go over there in a minute. But right now I want to point to this stage to you. This stage over here, since 1965, the blacks, mulattoes, and the Mayans have had a cappella trios over here that make fun of the Spanish. They have like poetry and that they sing that they understand that the Spanish didn't understand. Apparently it's every weekend it's here. I don't know, in the evening sometime. It's not happening now, but and it's a play on words. Our Mayan tour guide said they're little plays on words, so they make fun of the way the arrogance, if you will, of the Spanish and the way they were treated. And it's done here in this park, across from the Mulatto Church. Let's check out the church now. We're across the street now at Santa Lucia Temple. This is the oldest church in the city that's still standing, and it's still everyone's welcome here now. So up on the monument there is Francisco Montejo. He's sort of the Spanish father of the city anyway. We're 6 to 8 blocks north of the center of Old Town, and this street is full of mansions, and it's named after him. Most of the houses on this street weren't built till after his death. This was a renaissance that happened around 1840, 1850. They discovered that there was a fiber in a certain cactus that made the strongest rope really in the world, and it made many millionaires here in Merida, and so they built a bunch of mansions on this street. Here's a nice one. Wow, that's a beautiful place. I don't think there's anything like that in the town I grew up. About halfway up Paseo Montejo, you'll see this beautiful pink house and this monument in the center. You're halfway to the top of the Mansion Street, which is also the end of the Old Town walking tour. Another beautiful turn of the century mansion. I don't know what the yellow tag means. Maybe they haven't paid their bills or something. Must be hard to maintain a place like that. Another beauty. This one's in complete repair, both paint, lights, gardening, everything. Wow, this is a gorgeous walk. Definitely included in your visit to Merida. And they have these little horse carriages here. I haven't priced them. I don't know what they cost, but they run up and down here, and they go in the Plaza Principal. Right next to that beautiful one, which is some kind of financial institution. A lot of these have been purchased by banks and large financial companies, investment firms. I haven't seen a law firm yet, but of course something like this is protected, which means you'd have to maintain the appearance and from the street, and you probably would need, probably some kind of permit to do any kind of oh, and this is Quinta, Mont, Molina. This is actually a museum. Looks like it's closed now. We ran over on the tour, so we're not going to be able to go inside, but this was a wealthy Cuban who came over here and married the daughter of a wealthy landowner who had been making this fiber and selling it overseas, and the father gave them this land, and they built this beautiful home on it, and now it's a museum. So again, click the link in the notes below this YouTube video, pick up your Old Town walking tour and the information about this place, what its hours are, and how to get here. And there's a interactive Google Maps walking tour that you're going to want to get for not just all of Old Town, but for this walking area also. Thanks for watching this video and enjoying our tour. And as I say, we're investigating the best retire cheap places around the world. For the last 4 months we've been in Mexico. Just a couple more stops here. Check back in a few days, and while we finish off our 4-month Mexico tour, to see how I rank the places in Mexico from top to bottom. Thanks for listening.